in relationships. So excited to be connecting with you. I'm just typing in a little hello to the ladies on YouTube and the ladies on Facebook. Hi. Hi, welcome, welcome. Okay, ladies, how to avoid these 3 mistakes that women make in relationships. It's really going to be a great conversation. And hopefully you're going to ask me some fabulous questions so I have the opportunity to coach you. And now, let me just start off with the just saying that I think all of us can admit that we've all made mistakes in relationships, and that's why you're here on this broadcast, right? I've made all these mistakes that I'm going to share with you now, but don't worry, that's how we learn. Mistakes are how we learn, and so don't beat yourself up if you realize that some of these mistakes are ones that you've made or you're currently making. And so, hi, ladies on YouTube. Hi, just want to say hi. Say hello when you come in. Hi, Holly. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Lynn, Sherry. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Leslie. So nice to see you. Okay, so the 3 mistakes that women make in relationships. And so the first one is being too possessive. So I think that this is a really easy one to fall into. And what I mean by being too possessive is we go out with a guy, we like him, he's shown us some attention, and then we feel that we want to ask him like what he's doing this weekend, and we start asking him a lot of questions about his schedule, what he's doing, what he's up to, thinking that we have a right to do that. And what happens is a man is not committed to you until he initiates that commitment, until he initiates it. So in between the time you're dating and you like him, you need to stay really neutral, not put any pressure on like asking him a bunch of questions about what he's doing and how he's spending his time, because he's still keeping his options open. And so should you. But the mistake that women make is we think that he's paying attention to us, so he must be really into us. And so we start asking him and making an assumption that we're in a relationship because we like him, and we miss these flags. Not even flags, it's really information that we need to gather. So don't be so possessive when you meet a guy you like. But here's what you want to do is recognize that the first stage of the relationship when you meet a guy you like is the information gathering stage. You need to stay neutral and observe him, watch what he does, because if you can teach yourself to do this, he will provide you with all the information you need to make a good decision for yourself. What happens is that we ignore the red flags, and that's the biggest mistake I think women make overall, is that we ignore consciously or unconsciously the things that happen along the way that communicate to us whether or not this man is interested in a longer term relationship with us than he's letting on to be. And by the way, these little slits, they're just little slits in my shirt. Like, this isn't a rip. It looks like a rip. I keep looking at it going, just kind of the design of the shirt. Just wanted to clarify that because I can see it in the video. And so, hi, Cynthia. Hi. And so being too possessive, not asking him things, letting him tell you. And here's why you want to let him tell you, because you want to see how much he will reveal to you. That's why if you can allow yourself to just observe him and see what he's offering, see what he does, you'll get so much more information that will give you an ability to make a good decision about yourself and about this man. And so, unless you have a conversation that's not a secret and that's not implied about exclusivity, then you're not exclusive. So I'm going to just say that again, because I think that sometimes we get confused about that. Unless you have a non-secretive conversation, a very blunt conversation about being exclusive, you are not exclusive. Okay, no kind of implied conversation really works in this case. If a man does not want you to see other men, he will make sure that you know it, because he doesn't want you to see other men, because men are very territorial. So if he has not made that known to you verbally or verbally with a very clear, concise discussion, then that means he still hasn't decided how he feels about you long term. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just means that he's still weighing his options. And hey, you should still be weighing your options too, bottom line, unless he initiates that conversation. And it's not some kind of thing that implied, because implied doesn't mean he's really serious. If he says, well, I'm not seeing anybody else, that doesn't mean he's exclusive. It just means he's not seeing anybody else right now. Doesn't mean that he won't go out with anybody else. That's why you have to have that conversation. And so let's go on to the second mistake is don't assume that a relationship that you're in is going to lead to marriage. That's a critical mistake that women make in relationships. And here's why I want to just really encourage you not to do that, even though maybe you want that. Because the important thing is that I don't want you to give your heart away to a man unless he's committed long-term to you. So you can open your heart to men, right? Open your heart, be loving, be open-hearted, but don't give him your heart until he asks for it, until he has made it clear that he wants to spend his life with you and he makes that declaration to you, because it's not safe to do so. And it's not about trusting a man. It's just that you open yourself up to get hurt. A high-value woman has a boundary around how much she will do and give to another person. It has to be reciprocal. You give a little, he reciprocates back, he gives more. You would never overgive in a relationship hoping that it leads to something more, because it violates your own boundaries, and it does show you as a high value woman. So, and it shows you're a little unstable. So you're doing too much giving. So you have to really watch that. And that's why it's important to not assume that every relationship that you get into is going to lead to marriage. Because if you're watching along the way, you will discover, even after you've maybe slept with them, that maybe it's not a fit. Maybe some things get revealed through that process. And the only way to really know if he's long-term material is to go ahead and have those physically intimate relationships, so you can get closer, have those experiences, and then determine after you've had that experience if it's a real fit for long-term. I've been out with some wonderful men that I've had relationships with that didn't result in marriage, but I don't regret having those relationships that were intimate physically and emotionally, because through those relationships, I became aware that it wasn't a fit long term. And so I'm not saying that you should sleep with men in order to determine that. I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm just saying that depends on your value system. That might be against your values. Some of you watching this may believe that you want to wait till marriage, and I respect that choice. That is a personal choice that I cannot and never would tell you what to do. For me, I personally really enjoy that physical connection, and it's important to me, and I want to make sure that it is a fit. So after a man has asked me to be exclusive in the past, and he's demonstrated the 3 C's: commitment, caring, and consistency, we mutually agree to just see each other, and we're enjoying each other. Naturally, I want to take it to the next level, because I feel safe with the way he's treating me, to explore that next phase of the relationship and see if it's a fit. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just not a connect, and you never know that until you go there. So that's my value, that I need to know that information. I need to know how he is with me in all ways, and then I can decide if I'm going to spend my life with him. So you have to decide where you are with that piece, but never give your heart to a man. Always, I think is just keep your heart to yourself, because you need to nurture yourself. You need to unconditionally love and accept yourself. You need to have boundaries your whole life. And if you give your heart away, you almost ask them to take care of all those things that they could never possibly take care of. So if you just open your heart to a man, and you always leave your heart open, that's kind of like that philosophy of 2 holes coming together, side by side, not overlapping. That's an enmeshed relationship. That's codependency. That's what it feels like. And that's where you don't know where you end. If you try to wiggle your finger, you're like, where does he end and where do I begin? And when you try to pull apart, you're so codependent, it's really dysfunctional. You depend on him so much for your emotional needs that you can become very needy. But if you're 2 holes standing side by side, like the infinity symbol, that's a healthy relationship. That's your open heart. You're taking care of all your emotional needs. He's taking care of his emotional needs. And you're both 2 holes coming together side by side to create a very powerful dynamic, right? So that's why I say, don't give your heart away. Open your heart to him. And then the last part of this is the third mistake that women make is that you have to learn to see past the representative. So initially, when you meet a man, you meet his representative. You don't really meet the real him until you get to know him, right? So you're meeting his like representative, and he's meeting your representative. You're on your best behavior. He haven't seen you when you're triggered. He hasn't seen you when you haven't had any sleep, and so he's meeting your representative. So the more you get to know each other, the more real each other becomes to each other. And so you need to develop the skill set to see past the red flag, to see past the smoke and mirrors, so you can see who that person really is much sooner than later. And that would save you all so much time and heartache. And that's what I teach in my program. In fact, I want to tell you that I have a training out right now, How I Met the Man of My Dreams After 50. It's a free 28-minute video. I put the link in the box below that you can watch. Just sign up and watch it anytime. It's running. It's running around the clock, so you can access this video right away. I'm going to leave it up for another couple of days, but make sure you take advantage of checking out that video. I cover 3 really important points that you need to master in order to have a healthy relationship. And then the common mistakes that women make. It's very condensed. So take a look at that link and sign up for that and get into that training. And let's go back to the third mistake, which I was saying is that you really need to have the skill set to look beyond the smoke and mirrors that are that we originally put up. And it's normal. We dazzle men originally, and then we start to revert back to behavior, and they're watching for that. But if you could see that behavior before too much time passes, you're so much ahead of the curve. And it's going to save you so much pain and suffering, because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is fatal. It's fatal in these first couple of months because you don't want to waste any time. I know you're all here because you want to speed up the process. And so you really need to get good at knowing yourself, because when you know yourself, you can see other people more clearly. The reason why you don't see men and understand them is because there's too much going on here that keeps you from seeing who this guy really is. So allowing the relationship to unfold more organically without pushing is going to give you more information about him and what he's willing to do for you. So that means you can't chase a man. You have to let him do what he's going to do, so you can watch and see what he's going to do in the relationship long term. And that's why that's so important. And so the beginning of the relationship too, men are just, they're smelling the flowers. They're still keeping their options open, and they're seeing what you're all about. So you need to remain as a high value woman. You need to have healthy boundaries. I don't recommend you sleep with men until they agree to exclusivity, until they offer it, because they respect you and admire you. And until a man respects you and admires you, he's not going to commit to you. Men don't find respect and admiration from sleeping with you. They find respect and admiration from getting to know you. And they respect you more and admiring you more for having healthy boundaries, because how you act with him is how he thinks you act with other men. So if you're sleeping with men too soon, he knows you're sleeping with other men too soon. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to clear that up, get really clear on our boundaries, and have that personal integrity. Personal integrity is about what you are willing to do and what you're willing not to do, and that you keep your word to yourself. You don't make exception to your values, and you need to know what your values are. And that's why dating is so great, because it teaches us about our values. We learn through relationships what's important to us, so that we can get really strong in holding those boundaries around our values. So don't beat yourself up if you made these mistakes, because that's how you learn. Just don't keep making them. Hold that line, hold that boundary, because men will respect and admire you more. And that's the woman they're going to commit to. And so let me answer some questions. Hi, Sandy. I just want to say hi to a couple ladies. Hi, Judy. Thank you for being here. Hi, Lisa. Love you. Hi, Annette. And okay, so let's see. I found the love of my life almost a year ago, thanks to you. Oh, Sandra, I'm so happy for you. Good job. I follow your advice and it works. It does work. And ladies, if advice, this is great that she's able to follow the advice and meet her man, but information doesn't necessarily mean transformation. I mean, I personally have hired coaches for the last 10 years consistently to build my business and to be better at delivering content to you. You all have watched me grow, right? Become more confident. I'm even confident with my hair all cut off and short. I miss my long locks, but hey, this is the way it's going to be now. But you've seen me grow and evolve, right? And it's through the support I get from my coaches. So information doesn't need transformation. If anything that I've shared with you today, you really can't get any traction on, you keep making those same mistakes, don't beat yourself up. Just see the value in investing in yourself and your own personal growth. It'll make you a better partner, a better wife, a better girlfriend, and you'll have better communication skills, and your relationship will last longer. And that's what you're investing in, not necessarily the coaching, but in your skill set, so that you can have the relationship for as long as you want it. So watch that free training. That's a good start. That I put the link in the box below. So hi, Vida. Hi, nice to see you, honey. And so let me answer another question that's here. Thank you, Leslie. What are the odds of being with someone long-term who just got out of a 20-year marriage? So it's hard to say, but if he processed leaving the marriage years ago, he probably is already over it and is looking forward to another relationship. A man that's been in a relationship for 20 years, I would say, has enjoyed being in a committed relationship. Most men don't like to be alone. They don't like to be lonely, just like women. So it's hard to say. It depends on how much processing he did during the relationship, and if he's ready for the next one, or if he still needs to heal. You don't want to be the rebound. You really don't. I mean, honestly, it's really hard, because it's 3 people in the relationship, not 2. It's you and him and his ex-wife. So that's why you need to assess, without the rose-colored glasses, how far on the healing trail that he is. If he's gone into taking responsibility for his role in it, what did he learn from the relationship? Ask him, what did you learn from your relationship with your first wife? I mean, what did you learn in that? Instead of what went wrong, what did you gain? What insights did you gain? What skills did you learn from being married for 20 years? That's what I look at. I learned that I had to have better communication skills. I learned that I had to learn to keep my word to myself. I learned that I couldn't keep running away every time a problem came up. So I learned I had to stay. So I learned a lot in my first marriage, and he should be able to answer that question for you. So I can't give you the odds, but I can give you some solid facts that you need to find out based on observing how he is and how much he talks about his ex-wife, and ask him some key questions about what did you learn, and see how he reacts. Then you'll get a feel for where he's at in his healing process. So let me come over to YouTube and answer some questions, ladies. I met a wonderful man who's not attractive. That's something you can overcome. So that, I assume you mean physical attraction. Yes, I totally believe that. But you have to be able to observe. First of all, you have to see if he's treating you great, because when a man treats you really well, he becomes so much more attractive. Every time he does something for you that you like, he grows in your eyes. The attraction grows. Now, if you're constantly focusing on the external, then you want to be able to watch what when your thoughts kick into that critical stage. Because here's the thing, one of the biggest mistakes women make also that I didn't mention is women are very critical. We tend to be, and we tend to want everything to be perfect, and we tend to be very, very picky as we get older. We forget that we've changed, we've aged, things are going on with us, but we're still holding men at a high bar. And so I know that's harder as we get older, but we have to make some compromises. But if he's treating you well and showing up for you, and he's loyal to you and honest to you, and he's in integrity, I find that really attractive. I never really focused on looks. I know I have a really good looking husband, so maybe that was why I focused on his heart and how he treated me and how I felt with him, and less about what he looked like on the outside. But I definitely think you should look at how he spends his time. Is he conscious about his health? Does he care about his body? Does he love himself? Because those are signs that somebody really cares about themselves. Some of those things can be improved with, the clothes that he wears and maybe how he does his hair. Those can be improved upon, but I wouldn't improve him unless you decide you want to have a relationship, because you can improve him and then he'll find somebody else who thinks he's cute after all. So be careful with trying to improve a man. It could backfire. Couple more questions. What do you think about a man who has a lifelong history of cheating on every woman he's been with, who says he's not a one-woman man? I would believe him. Some men don't want to be monogamous, and they don't have the courage to just tell a woman that they don't want a long-term relationship. And so that's a man that doesn't have a backbone, because a lot of men are just dating for fun and they can come out and say it. And so I would believe him. Believe a man when he tells you that he's not a one-woman man. He's not. And he's discovered that he doesn't have to be, because he hasn't been one for years. So that's a pretty big pattern to break. Find somebody else that hasn't had that history. And some men are just built that way, and that's the way they're going to roll, and I wouldn't try to change them. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, give too much too soon. So don't give so much in the beginning. Being too nice, overgiving are all signs of low self-esteem, low self-worth. And it just means that you need to love yourself more. You need to see your own value, that you have value by discovering how much value you have, and seeing your worth. And I can't overemphasize that enough, because a man can't see your worth and value if you don't. And if you're overgiving, then you're in the control mode. You're trying to control the outcomes. You need to get back into receiving and let a man do for you to see what he'll do naturally, what he's willing to do, what he's inspired to do by you. But if you're doing all the giving, he doesn't have anything to give you, because you're taking care of all of it. And being too nice, it's like, oh, I want to be nice, but being too nice can come across as being a doormat. It means that you don't have clear boundaries. And not having clear boundaries is a real problem with the man respecting you. A man does not have a problem with you saying no. Okay. In fact, he wants to hear you say no more, because then you're a challenge to him. You're somebody who has high values and good boundaries, and he's going to have to work to win you. And you've heard from me before that men really do like to achieve, to accomplish. It's not a game. They're just wired differently than we are. And so don't mother men. They don't want a mother. They want they want an equal. They want somebody that they respect and admire. And there's some, I won't even bother mentioning. Some of the comments on here are, a doormat is what I have been with exes. Well, you know what, sweetie? Don't beat yourself up about it. Just recognize it. It's just behavior, and you are not your behavior. It's just behavior. You're not that. It's just something you did. You didn't have the outcome that you wanted, and you learned from it. So remember, ladies, I'm going to leave you with this. You're not your behavior. You're so much more. You're a divine being of light and love. That's your real value, is your connection to knowing your worth, loving and accepting yourself. And the mistakes that we make teach us and create more wisdom so that we can grow and expand. But when we beat ourselves up, it's counterproductive. There's no good comes from it. It just lowers your self-worth in your own eyes. So when you make a mistake, go, well, I won't do that again. Good to know. Good to know. I didn't feel good, so I won't do it again. And feeling good is the indicator. If you do something that doesn't feel good, that's your indicator that you won't do it again. Do things that make you feel good and proud of yourself, and you keep doing those. Okay, ladies, I'm already over 4 minutes. I'm trying to keep the broadcast to 4 minutes. If you like the content, please like my Facebook page and maybe leave me a review, especially the gal that said that she's been in a relationship and met her because of my advice. I would love it if you would take just a few minutes, Janet, and write, or Sandra, I'm sorry, write me a quick review. That would be so wonderful. 5 stars would be great. And then ladies on YouTube, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss an episode. I'm live every Thursday at 4 o'clock Pacific. I love the topics that you suggest in my comment boxes, because that's what I'm teaching you today, is somebody asked for more relationship topics. And so that's what I'm bringing you. So make sure that you post a topic that you want, so I can deliver the content that is meaningful to you, because that's important to me. All right, ladies, I hope you have a great weekend. Get out there and deliberately date and learn from every choice you make, so that you can keep making the right decisions for yourself. Okay? All right. Love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Bye. Have a wonderful evening and weekend.